Hello everyone, I'm Ferdi Salvador. Join us in unlocking the tricks of the trade here on Trade Talks. Let's get down to business. If you love food and more food, then this episode is for you. The International Manila Food Festival took place over the weekend from August 7 to 10 at the Newport World Resorts, Manila. It's a world-class celebration of Filipino cuisine, culture, and creativity, and featured culinary legends and global tastemakers, among others. Joining us in the studio this morning to tell us more about this event and the latest in the Philippine culinary scene, we've got Bea Trinidad, which is a journalist and foodie, communications director of the Center for Culinary Arts Manila, or CCA. We also have Chef Nicole Ponseca, author and one of the movers behind International Manila Food Festival. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
That was a mouthful.
It was.
You ladies are so multi-hyphenated, right? So tell me, Bea, you are part of CCA, one of the most established culinary institutes in the Philippines for education, right? How did you get involved in these things? Because I know that you always push, Filipino gastronomic artisanship to the forefront. So why did you get involved in this one particularly?
You know, the school has been around for 28 years, and you always think that it's a big team, that there's a lot of gates of approval, but with us, we don't even need to know what's going to happen. We say yes. So when Nicole and Anton Diaz as well of Our Awesome Planet brought it up, it's like, yes. We didn't even know who was going to be the lineup, and we just, anything they asked for,
you just jumped in.
Yes.
You jumped into the sinigang broth.
Yes, whatever. Sinigang broth, I would love to bathe in that. So yes, for sure. We definitely wanted to be involved. Whatever it was, we were willing to give, whether it's student assistance or whatever they were after.
Right.
I think supporting something like this is so rare, and we just had to be a part of it.
Yes, I know it's done. However, we want you to be on the show because we want the Filipino culinary culture to be front row and center, because I think it's very important. Like Chef Nicole, you're from New York.
Yes.
And the funny thing about it is Filipino restaurants are celebrated in LA, in Chicago, in New York. So why come back home? It's already being celebrated there.
Well, yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having us on the show.
My pleasure.
And we look at this as the first of many. We're looking to make the International Manila Food Festival on the map, such as Davos or Cannes with this festival.
Yes.
And I've been involved in food since 1998.
And you've been a champion of it.
Yeah, so I had my first restaurant, Maharlika and Jeepney, and my cookbook, I'm a Filipino, which was a James Beard finalist.
Yes.
But I've devoted my whole career to the advancement of Filipino identity and culture globally. And I think finally coming back to Manila is a dream come true.
You know, I just had a guest on the show recently, and he mentioned, he lives in Hong Kong, between Hong Kong, Manila, and Singapore. And he said that because he designs dining spaces, that's what he calls, instead of restaurants, that the other food scenes in the regions, such as Thailand and the like, have already reached their maturity or peak. Now, travelers are looking for other alternatives, and this is the time for Filipino cuisine. Do you both believe that, Bea?
Well, last week, I don't just believe it, I can see it. Like last week, I saw this cafe in the UK, and they were selling an ube latte, and that just made me smile, because you see something that you grew up around, and it's just...
Or took for granted.
Yes, yes. I never take ube for granted. I would, even the ube jam, I would be eating that
spoonfuls,
yes,
yes.
Never.
Sure.
We're always blessed to have ube jam in the fridge, and I think for me, I just would love that Filipino food is not just a passing trend. It's that it has momentum and sustainability, and that it becomes kind of a global staple.
Right, because you and I live in the Philippines, so to us this is a daily occurrence that we have Filipino food. But Nicole, Chef Nicole, you live abroad, so you can probably see better than us when it comes to the movement of Filipino cuisine globally. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for the longest time, I felt US's influence on the Philippines, but now being here for the last 2 years, I see Manila and Philippines' influence on the world in social media, in fashion, in music, and certainly food. It's a long time coming, but I can definitely feel Filipinos' influence in ingredients, in flavor profiles. And last year was a record year where we had the most nominees of Filipino chefs at James Beard.
Yes, which is amazing. We need to do a show on that. That's a completely different topic altogether. But what do you think the strengths of Filipino cuisine are, Nicole?
I think it's our flavor profile. You know, along many regions, it happens to be very maasim. It's very different than other cultures. And I think our hospitality. And I think, you know, the uniqueness of Mexico, Spain, Chinese, Dutch,
Malay.
Arabic, Malay. What other cuisine can have all of this fusion onto itself and be completely accurate and authentic? Only the Philippines has this.
But do you think that works against us, Bea, when it comes to flavor profiles? Because, for example, you have Japanese cuisine. It's so directed. It's focused. Thai cuisine, you know exactly. If I say Thai food, you both already thinking what flavor profiles your mouth will be playing with. If we say, you know, Singapore, which is also a menagerie of different cultures, but you think of laksa, chicken rice, there's something that's focused. Do you think that our diversity in flavor profiles has become a sort of our defocus on what Filipino cuisine marketed should be?
I don't think so, because what I've seen, like, in the past couple years, we actually did like a pop-up, the school in Melbourne Food and Wine Festival. And we brought a lot of Filipino chefs there, like Chef Sao and Chef JP Anglo. And what I noticed, what is so great about Filipino cuisine is the experience. And I know Nicole has done this in her restaurant. She did budo fights and a lot of this experiential things.
I've seen that actually
Yes.
online. And
Yeah.
how did the Western diners feel about budo fights?
I love
It's super exotic. Us, we're just hungry. We're just
Yeah.
like, budo fight, yes, we're gonna be
Yes.
fed, right?
You know, the reason why we did Kamaya and we were the first to do it in America and put it on the map is because when my American friends would see my father eating with his hands, there was hiya. And so my culture...
Were they aghast?
A little bit, but my whole goal is to turn all the conversation around, be in charge of the narrative. And so we romanticized it, putting on banana leaves, and it
Right.
wound up turning around our business. But to your question,
Yes.
but to your question earlier, I think from a business and marketing perspective, it is a challenge, but it's also the opportunity. And to your point, like Chinese, Mexican, and Thai, the dishes that we can put as iconic will be what strengthens us for mainstream appeal.
Right, because you know we've been trying to, like you pointed out, marketing. A lot of our wonderful chefs in the Philippines have been trying to modernize certain dishes. Do you think that's working against us or pushing our cuisine forward?
Well, I think it can work against us. If you are a non-Filipino new to the cuisine and you go to Texas or Manhattan or Los Angeles, the idea that the menu isn't consistent can be a problem. We have to build familiarity.
And authenticity.
Yes. And if we can do that and still welcome creativity, but follow some menu cues that people can recognize the food, I think that's where the definition of success will be.
Right, like case in point, General Tso's chicken. It does not exist in China, right? It's only in the US that this came about. I mean, do you think we have a dish that's similar to that, that's pushing the notion of Filipino cuisine in the Western world?
Wow, it's really hard. I'm a big foodie, so it's really hard to just choose one dish. But one example is our alumnus, Chef JP Anglo. He did a course with us in the school. It was Chinoy cuisine, and he served ensaymada as an ice cream sandwich. And to me, it's like...
Wow.
Wow. I mean, really, that's all there is to say. And I love that. Like bringing all the Filipino talent here overseas and even locally, if they come together with such great ideas, that's where we're going to blossom.
Right, because you both are part of this wonderful event, right? Did you put this together to perhaps bridge obstacles in terms of having to address Filipino cuisine success or lack thereof in the culinary world?
I'll let Nicole answer this because I
Nicole.
know you spearheaded it, and I was just a willing volunteer to be, yes.
Well, we are so happy that you're with us, and CCA's participation means so much to us. But the intention was to build an opportunity for import, opportunity for investment, opportunity for collaboration. You know, all around the world, I see chefs that are doing a fantastic job, but we tend to work in silos. So creating this platform to connect, to share ideas. Now, this is where innovation is. I'm inspired by Southwest and other forums platforms where we can meet. That's the intention of the International Manila Food Festival. Absolutely.
Have you enjoined different government agencies to help you out?
Right now, we are working with DOT, but we hope to work interagency between DFA, DTI, and DOT. I do take cues from Thai government and how they marketed their cuisine. And I think working interagency, Department of Foreign Affairs, DTI, DOT, all of us can work together to build a strategy, absolutely.
Right, because our food is our best marketing tool.
I just want to add, though,
Yes,
to
Bea.
Nicole's props, like, it's the first time bringing all these schools together, CCA, Le Cordon Bleu, and the Run, in the same room, having conversations with people who are making a lot of moves in the industry. And to me, what is exciting besides the number of tickets sold and the influence that happens in a festival like this is the legacy or the projects that come out of just a few days of
Yeah, it's like the
gathering people
G7
together.
summit of the Philippines
But-
for food.
yummier, yes.
For cuisine, actually, yes.
We are calling it the World Filipino Food Congress.
Yes.
And so we invited all the culinary schools to lead a panel. So there's a conversation about tradition versus modern, there's a conversation about sustainability, and there's a conversation about how do we educate, how do we build a food program where we teach the standardization of different recipes.
That's my next question,
Okay.
because how did you think of putting different restaurant establishments and different culinary schools together in one platform? How did that idea spark about?
Well, I learned from a dear friend of mine who's a CEO in the US who was having lunch with his direct competitor. And I said, my God, I never heard of Pepsi having lunch with Coca-Cola. It was unheard of. And he said to me, all of us will execute very differently. It's the exchange of ideas that needs to be built in our industry always.
Can you specify the collaboration that made a significant impact between, showcasing Filipino food with different establishments?
Show what was the best outcome? Well, I think right now we're having honest conversations about tradition versus modern and how we devise a menu. And even in that exchange, it either emboldens a thought or it causes someone to question it. And that alone, it's intention, it's creative briefs, it's management. That's pretty exciting.
Well, in
to
my
me.
point of view, as long as there's a conversation.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
also, besides conversation, I think there's a lot of hours of work, because just yesterday I saw one of our students volunteering for Tyra Monson's dinner, and she was saying it's an all-female kitchen, and that to me is amazing for a young aspiring chef to see that that is possible. And nowadays, it's not just choosing the best kitchen to work in. You also think about like the philosophy of the person leading the kitchen.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's very important because that's part of the experience. But let's hang in there, and I want you to serve me the next dish. But we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us here in Trade Talks. Welcome back to Trade Talks, the High Life. We continue our appetizing conversation with our culinary experts, Bea Trinidad and Chef Nicole Ponseca. So, before the break, of course, we talked about technicalities you're collaborating with and stuff like that. I want to know,
Okay.
what dish makes you both tick, especially during this Congress?
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh.
You go.
One dish, come on.
go.
can-
I'd have to say Tara Monsod's dish last Friday
Which is?
was. She did this layered dish. It was scalloped and corn ginataang and Thai basil. It was fresh. It was from the ocean. It was silky. It was fashion on a plate, too. It was gorgeously plated. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't help that it's after the show is lunch, okay?
Yeah, I mean, the concept of, I love that this festival is not just about the dinners, there's also a buffet, and it's got beer as well. I think that's our culture. Just
Okay.
having that and showcasing those dishes along with beer is just, I think, the perfect.
Yes. Did you
Combination.
both, of course, there's about collaboration with different restaurants, and it's your first year to do this, yes?
Yes.
And I'm sure you're going to be doing it again next year.
Absolutely.
However, did you push boundaries with Filipino cuisine? Because you're telling me about that fashion on a plate and your dish that I just can't deal with right now.
Yeah, beer. Beer. The dish that I chose is beer.
Anyone pushing the envelope or boundaries with the cuisine?
You know, it comes to mind is Chef Stefan from Mestiz and Automat. He's definitely pushing the boundaries of ingredients. He pushes
Mestiz or Métis?
Métis, yeah.
Métis.
Hey, Métis, yeah.
Métis, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. Thank you.
No worries, no
Métis.
worries.
You know, he brings such a varied perspective from his Paris background, Filipino background. He also, I believe, worked in Portugal and Italy. So he really challenges us to think, what do we expect from Filipino food? And can we be more than what we expect?
You know what? That's a great thing you just brought up because a lot of great chefs, Filipino great chefs, naming Sao definitely,
Yes. Chefs.
they're French trained, but they embody Filipino cuisine. Do you think that the current crop of culinary greats to be, do they necessarily have to be European trained or French trained in philosophy?
I want to hear what Nicole says, and
Yeah.
I'm going to say,
Yeah.
because I'm so biased, I love our team and the school, and
Yes.
the fact that it's all Filipino team.
But of course,
Yeah,
it's
this-
French philosophies.
Yes,
I mean, we can't get rid of that. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But to say that I'm French trained right now, do you still think it's a plus to push Filipino cuisine forward?
Well, it is the language of food, is knowing that you're French trained and understanding the tenets created by Escoffier. But I think what we're trying to do here is position Filipino food as a world-class cuisine and also understanding we have our own mother sauces, we have our own techniques, we have our own horno or vinegars that also cook like kinilaw, as in ceviches. So taking a note from Escoffier in French cuisine and also standardizing us in education, I think will position us to be like, hey, are you Philippine trained? Now that would be the change that we're looking for.
And that to me is like music to my ears
Right.
because we still do teach French language in the school and the principles of French cooking.
Yes.
However, we have made a few tweaks in the school. Like number one, our culinary team is called Tikim. We wanted it to be a Filipino name so that they don't forget their heritage. Another thing is even short courses. We have our graduation now is Filipino cuisine so that they don't ever forget that heritage. And what I'd love to see that happen is that someone asks, where were you trained? Filipino Culinary School. And that to me would be just amazing. And just the little tweaks we can do, will
Yes.
in 10 years, that's gonna change everything.
Yeah, because there's a lot of interest in local cuisine now, domestic cuisine. But one important thing to point out is, are we going regional in terms of domestic cuisine? Because yes, Manila is the epicenter of all these things, but to be able to be inclusive of different cuisines around the Philippines, I think is important. That collaboration, to me, would be important. How did you champion?
Oh my gosh! Well, you're like music to my ears right now because when we look at other cuisines too, in Tuscany, Florence, Italian food, it is absolutely regional, and I hope that that's what's happening. And we are championing.
It should,
Yeah.
because it needs to give value to our cuisine, our culture, and it's just not food that you find in Manila, right?
Yes, I mean, there is a difference between Kapampangan sisig or kansi and aklan. And it gives pride because, you know, one thing I've learned about being Filipino and meeting Filipinos around the world is there's 3 questions you normally get asked. What's your last name? What province are you from?
And have you eaten?
And have you eaten?
Yes.
That's it. You got it. Have you eaten? So we do take pride in our province or our regionality. So
Yes.
of course it's going to extend to food.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There?
Well, this is again, I'm going back to what we do and practice in the school. Number one, we had John Sherwin Felix. We had him before anyone he spoke in schools, was that we asked him to talk about regional ingredients. And he spends his days, that guy is he's doing God's work, which is basically going all over the Philippines, documenting ingredients we never see. And
Such as? I'd like to know.
Oh my God, there was so much. First, he obviously showed different salts and different fruits. And
Oh, I can talk about salts all day.
okay.
Yeah.
And another thing is, last year we celebrated our anniversary, and one of the things we did was my hometown cooking, and we saw different dishes like caldo in Rizal or inubaran in Aklan, and these are places I've never really been to, but it's quite nice that we can bring that in a convenience of a campus
Yes.
and talk about it.
I mean, let's take the humble pancit, right? Ube is a great ingredient for anything, but the humble pancit has been recreated, reimagined in 1,000 different ways. You go cross a border between Manila and Bulacan, Pampanga, Tarlac, I can go on and on. And each town after the border has a different version of their pancit. Do you think that with this movement of yours, do you think that you'll be able to zero in on one particular dish and say, hey guys, hey, this is your champion and tell me what you got? So that doesn't only tie regional, but a cultural and gastronomic icon that we all share.
I was gonna say it's really hard to think of one, but based on everything I've heard from overseas and people locally, it's like lechon. Seems that people just, their eyes light up, they're salivating every time you talk about lechon. So I would choose that.
Lechon.
Just to be decisive.
Chef Nicole.
Okay, you're putting a lot of pressure on me, but you know what? I also think that you're inspiring me and how we evolve the festival. That if every year we focus on one dish as a hero dish. So maybe next year, 2026, pancit will be the hero for the next year's
I
festival.
just want to say that that's an exclusive, and we're going to hashtag that because it happened on Trade Docs.
Yes,
And then
you heard
after
it here.
pancit, I think we should go sinigang,
Yes.
and then adobo. Maybe three
Yes.
three dishes, okay, just to be fair, right?
Absolutely.
And how do you feel, and how did your students, your chefs, your restaurant owners benefit from your congress?
Well, certainly inspiration. If food is an art, there's no way that you can look at a plate or the way a chef approaches a dish and not be inspired.
Right.
And so through this exchange, you just keep getting better, because when you know better, you do better. And so I think the bar just continues to increase. And as Bea was saying, I think one of the nights was very special because we kicked off with an all-female team. And I didn't have a lot of females to look up to in the culinary world. Very few restaurateurs in New York that were female. So I can imagine being 20 years old, 22, and seeing, hey, I can be that? Absolutely. That means a lot to me.
Wow, but that's funny because here in Manila, or in the Philippines, domestically, we have a lot of female chefs that we celebrate. Margarita, Miko, Glenda Barreto. She's one of the queens, pillars of Filipino cuisine. But let me get into a more exciting question. What is your worst investment?
Oh my goodness. What is my worst investment? Well, I've definitely had a dud here or there, and I've learned from those experiences. And I was very conservative with them. So mostly the time was lost, was an investment that you can't get back. But I always learned from them. And to me, the challenge is not the failure, but the pivot. And I learned that in New York in COVID, that, okay, this is what's happening in our industry. COGS, labor, operations are changing. What's next?
Right. Bea?
Worst investment
Best
in...
investment.
Best
Yes.
investment. Meeting Nicole?
Nah.
No, I think number one, I mean, this ties in with the worst investment is spending time with the wrong people in the industry and just, being in toxic situations. If you're a young, aspiring person in hospitality, you end up in really hard environments. Like, I think it's important that you know how to surround yourself with good people, and this includes Nicole and everyone in the Congress or the festival.
Right.
Yeah.
quick question.
Okay.
Where do you see, in one sentence, where do you see Filipino food in 10 years, Nicole?
More prominent in fast casual and fine dining.
Bea?
Global staple, like you would say, I'd love to have, as like a foreigner would say, I'd love to have Filipino food this Monday.
Let's have Filipino today, like
Yes,
that, right?
yes.
Favorite mistake?
My ex.
Can I say my ex too?
You can say whatever you want.
This is a love show now.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't worry. That's cool. Your ex.
My favorite mistake was, was probably staffing. And you gotta hire,
Yes. Yeah.
slowly, fire quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. Same. I have this really good quote. It's like culture is who you hire, who you fire, and who you promote. And to me, that is, I wish I knew that when I was in my 20s.
But I can just say that your exes are not eating well at the moment.
They're biting their tongue.
C'est la vie. Who wins? You guys. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning. And I'm very excited, and more power to your movement, because this is very important to our country and our people. Thank you, Bea. Thank you, Chef Nicole. And that is it for today's show. I'm Ferdi Salvador. Catch the Bilyonaryo News channel on Free TV Channel 31, on cable via Cignal Channel 24, Converge Channel 74, SkyCable Channel 33, Samsung TV Plus, and TCL Smart TV. Thank you for watching the Bilyonaryo News channel. Always on top and hungry right now. Thank you, ladies.